Welcome, this is Jessica again. We're going to do another short sequence today. And this is going to be something that actually comes from Ashtanga yoga. It's a very short section of that that's primarily standing positions for now. So you might choose to do this video after doing the video on Sun A and Sun B, Sun Salutations, or you might just do this one independently. So for this, we're going to start at the front of our mat. We're going to take that mountain position. So again, your feet are about hip width apart, shoulders rolled up, down, and back, hands out to the side. From here, you're simply going to fold forward and reach down for your toes. Grab your big toe with your first and second finger. From here, lift up halfway a little forward and then fold. Your elbows may come out to the side. Keep working to get your belly to lay on your thighs. So that might mean that you put a bend in your knee to get your belly a little bit more on your thigh, and then you work to straighten your legs from there. Look down between your knees. See if your weight is really far back in your heels or really far forward, and try to get to the middle. Take one more breath. Release your toes, put your hands on your shins, look up to a half flat back. And then from here, again fold forward. This time put your entire palm underneath your foot so your toes are up towards your wrist. You are welcome to put as much of a bend in your knees as you need to for this. So this is really working on a wrist release, so it's absolutely fine to have your knees bent the whole time. From here, we'll take 3 more breaths for that total of 5. You might work to straighten your legs a little bit, but we're really worried more about the wrists. Take one more breath. Then release the hands from under your feet. Bring your hands to your hips, bend in your knee as you come all the way back up to standing. Release your hands down. From here, we're going to take a giant step. You're going to move your right foot back. I'm doing things a little differently so that I'm facing you. And then from here, point your right foot to the back wall. Stretch your arm forward. And bring your hand down to the floor or to your shin for triangle. We're going to work to stay here for 5 breaths. Keep hugging your legs together and keep working to open your shoulder. You could imagine that you have a wall behind you that your shoulders are resting on. Look down to the floor, lift up, and then pivot your feet so that you're facing in the opposite direction. Bring your left wrist forward and then down to your shin, a block, or the floor for the second side. Keep working your left hip under, your right hip back. Notice what you feel through your legs. Perhaps hug them together. Take one more breath here. Then look down to the floor. Slight bend in your knees as you rise all the way up. Pivot your feet back to neutral. Step back to the front of the mat. Take a breath. From here, take that big step open one more time. You're going to do the same thing with your foot. Right foot pivots. This time, deep bend in your right knee. You're either going to bring your elbow to your knee and then bring your arm overhead for side angle, or you might bring your hand down to the floor or a block. Again, we're going to work to stay here for about 5 breaths. So about 3 more. Even here, hug your knees together, hug your legs together. Feel that engagement through your legs. Take one more breath. Look down to the floor. Inhale, lift up. Pivot your feet. And then do the same thing. Deepen your left knee. Elbow comes to your knee and your arm reaches overhead. Or hand might come down to the floor on the outside of your knee. We're working to get that front knee to a 90-degree angle. That may or may not happen today. Either way is fine. You might notice a lot of sensation happening here. Take one more breath. Look down to the floor. Lift up. Bring both feet back to parallel. Step back to the front of the mat. Take a breath. Take that big step open one more time. Notice that my wrists are more or less above my ankles. So this might be a bigger stance than you think it is. From here, bring your hands to your hips. Look up for a slight back bend. And then fold forward. Bring your hands all the way to the floor. Lift up halfway, look forward, and then fold. Again, notice where the weight is, if it's back in your heels, up in your toes, and try to come back towards center. Hug your legs together. Take one more breath. Inhale, lift up halfway. Slight bend in your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Lift all the way up. Bring your arms out to the side. And then back behind you and interlace your hands together. From here, pull your shoulders together. Look up. Fold forward. Arms might come overhead away from your body. Take 5 breaths. Try to work your palms together. Keep hugging your legs together. One more breath. Release your hands to your hips, bend your knees, lift all the way up, and then come back to the center of your mat. Take a breath. This time, as you open up, take a step that's maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of that space that you had the first time. Bring your hands behind you. They might rest on your hips. You might bring your hands behind you. Whatever works for your body is fine. Then pivot and step so you have a little bit of space between your feet. So this is one where we're looking at standing on railroad tracks, not on a tightrope. And then from here, bend. Stop wherever you have the amount of sensation you want in your body. If this is really hard, you might come up onto the ball mound of your back foot. For this position, think chest towards toes, not head towards knees. So we want as much of a flat back as we can have. Take one more breath. Slowly lift up. Keep your hands where they are. Pivot to the other side and readjust your feet so that you're back on the railroad tracks. From here, look up, and then fold forward, flat spine, chest towards toes. Stop wherever you need to stop. Keep working your right hip forward and your left hip back. You might notice that you feel something different when you do that. Take one more breath. Slowly lift up, slight bend in your front knee. Pivot back to the side, bring your arms out, step back to the front of your mat, take a breath. From here, we're going to go back towards that fierce position that we did in the other video. So for me, the easiest way is to have my toes touching a little bit of space at my heels. You can also do this with your feet a little bit farther apart if that's better for your body. And then from here, sink your hips like you're sitting in a chair. Create some space on your lower spine, so you're going to tilt your pelvis forward, lengthen your tailbone. You can leave your hands at the center and keep sinking your hips. You could also lift your arms overhead. Take one more breath. This time, straighten your legs, fold forward. Lift up halfway, look forward, round down again. Take one more breath. Bring your arms out to the side, lift all the way up on your inhale, and come back to center. We're going to stop there for this video. You're welcome to link a couple of them together if you want something a little longer. But that was a short piece of the standing sequence for Ashtanga. That's a really good way to continue to warm up the body and stretch yourself out in some different ways. Thank you for joining us today.